Just a paperwork mix-up, she assured me as my deportation loomed. But the US's investigation revealed she'd been filing false reports about my employment for months. The email trail showed her planning to hire her niece for my position. When ICE raided my apartment, at 5:47 a.m., they broke down my door. 6 ICE agents in tactical gear, weapons drawn, screaming commands in English that my terror-frozen brain couldn't process. I was on the floor in my pajamas, hands zip-tied behind my back, when one of them finally said the words that made everything clear. "You're under arrest for visa fraud and illegal employment." My name is Priya Sharma, and 6 months ago, I was living my American dream, a senior software engineer at a Fortune 500 company, engaged to the love of my life, building the future I'd worked so hard to achieve. Today, I'm fighting deportation because my boss, Miranda Whitfield, decided her niece deserved my job more than I did. It started subtly, the way workplace sabotage always does. Miranda had been my manager for 2 years, all smiles and mentorship, until her niece Jessica graduated from coding bootcamp. Suddenly, my performance reviews contained concerns that had never been voiced before. My code was lacking innovation. My communication needed cultural adjustment. My work ethic was different from team expectations. "Don't worry about it," Miranda assured me during one of our one-on-ones. "Just minor areas for growth. Your visa renewal should be fine." I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She'd hired me straight from my master's program, sponsored my H-1B visa, written glowing recommendations. She knew my entire life depended on that job, not just my career, but my legal right to exist in the country I called home for 7 years. The first real sign of trouble came when HR called me in February. Linda from HR looked uncomfortable, shuffling papers on her desk. "Priya, we've received some concerning reports about your employment status," she began. "There seem to be discrepancies in your timesheets." Discrepancies? I pulled up my meticulously kept records on my phone. I log everything. Every hour, every project. "That's the issue. Your manager's reports to USCIS showed different hours. Significantly different. Like part-time hours when you've been working full-time." My blood ran cold. H-1B visas require full-time employment. If USCIS thought I was working part-time, it would invalidate my status. "This has to be a mistake," I said. "Miranda knows I work 50 to 60 hours a week. She assigns the projects herself." Linda frowned. "I'll look into it. For now, just keep detailed records of everything." I started documenting obsessively. Screenshots of emails, photos of myself at my desk with timestamps, co-commit logs showing my work hours. I even started recording meetings with Miranda, legal in our one-party consent state, though it felt like betrayal. The second sign came in March when my visa renewal was denied. Insufficient evidence of specialized employment, the denial letter read. Employer failed to demonstrate need for foreign worker in this position. I stormed into Miranda's office, denial letter trembling in my hand. She was training Jessica on our code base, my code base, the system I'd architected from scratch. "Oh, Priya." She minimized her screen quickly. "What's wrong?" "My visa was denied. They say you didn't provide proper documentation." Her face was a masterpiece of concern. "That can't be right. I filed everything myself to make sure it was perfect. Must be a processing error. These government agencies, you know how they are." "Miranda, I could be deported." "Don't be dramatic. We'll file an appeal." "Jessica, why don't you grab us some coffee? Priya and I need to sort this out." Jessica -22, blonde, fresh out of boot camp, gave me a sympathetic look that felt rehearsed. "Of course, Aunt Miranda." "Hi, Priya. I've heard so much about your work. It's incredible what you've built here." After she left, Miranda pulled up emails on her computer. "See, I sent everything to USCIS. Letter of support, your job description, salary information. It's all here." It looked legitimate, but something nagged at me, a detail I wouldn't understand until later. The job description she'd sent described a junior developer role, not the senior architect position I actually held. The salary was listed as $45,000, not the $120,000 I earned. Every detail crafted to make it seem like my job could be filled by any entry-level American worker. "We'll fix this," Miranda promised. "Just keep working normally while we sort it out." But normally became increasingly impossible. My access to critical systems was revoked pending visa status clarification. My team lead responsibilities were temporarily reassigned to Jessica for training purposes. My desk was moved to a corner cube because Jessica needed to be closer to Miranda for mentorship. I hired an immigration lawyer with my savings. Raj Patel was expensive but came highly recommended. When he reviewed my case, his expression grew increasingly grim. Priya, these documents your employer submitted, they're not just wrong. They're deliberately falsified. Your actual job description, the one in your original visa application, has been completely rewritten. And these timesheet reports, they show you working 20 hours a week for the past 6 months. But I work twice that. I believe you, but USCIS goes by what the employer reports. And your employer is telling them you're a part-time junior developer making barely above minimum wage. Why would Miranda do this? Raj pulled up LinkedIn on his laptop. Jessica Whitfield. Started at your company 2 months ago as senior software architect. That's your title, isn't it? The pieces clicked. Every late-night project Miranda had me training Jessica on. Every system architecture document she had me share for backup purposes. Every proprietary algorithm I developed that Jessica was now maintaining. She's replacing you with her niece, I whispered. While making it look like you're the one committing visa fraud, Raj added. If USCIS thinks you've been lying about your employment, you're not just looking at deportation. You're looking at a permanent ban from re-entering the U.S. The next weeks were a nightmare of legal filings, evidence gathering, and steadily escalating hostility at work. Miranda became openly cold, criticizing my work in public, assigning me menial tasks, scheduling important meetings when she knew I had lawyer appointments. Maybe you should consider opportunities back home, she suggested during one particularly cruel performance review. This visa situation is clearly affecting your work quality. My work quality is fine, I shot back. It's good enough for Jessica to take credit for it. Her mask slipped. Jessica is a talented developer who doesn't require expensive visa sponsorship. She's also family, which means she's loyal. Unlike some people who forget who gave them their chance. I recorded that conversation. Thank God I recorded it. The USCI's investigation began after Raj filed our complaint. What they found was damning. Miranda hadn't just falsified my recent reports. She'd been laying groundwork for months. Emails to HR about my performance issues that were never sent to me. Backdated documentation suggesting I'd been counseled for problems that never existed. Time cards edited retroactively to show me working fewer hours. But Miranda had made one crucial mistake. She used her company email to coordinate with Jessica. Mom says you're ready to take over the neural network project, one email read. Priya won't be an issue much longer. Can't wait to officially start. Jessica had replied. Aunt Miranda says I can have the corner office once visa issues resolve. The FBI's cybercrime division got involved when they discovered Miranda had accessed my personal USCIS account using credentials she'd obtained when helping with my initial visa application. She'd been monitoring my status, even submitting false documents in my name to make it look like I was complicit in the fraud. The raid on my apartment happened before the investigation concluded. Someone, we later learned it was Miranda, had reported me as an illegal immigrant engaged in unauthorized employment. ICE doesn't wait for investigations. They act on tips, sort out truth later. Those 20 minutes on my apartment floor, surrounded by armed agents, were the longest of my life. My fiancé James arrived as they were loading me into the van. She's here legally, he shouted, showing them our meticulously organized visa documentation. This is a mistake. Tell it to the judge, one agent replied, slamming the van door. I spent 72 hours in detention before Raj could get me released. 72 hours in a concrete cell, wearing a uniform that marked me as criminal, listening to the sobs of others caught in a system's web. My cellmate was a grandmother who'd been here 30 years, grabbed in a workplace raid because her green card renewal was delayed. They don't see us as people, she told me, just problems to be solved by removal. When I finally got out, the real bombshell waited. The USCIS investigation had uncovered everything. Miranda had done this before, to 2 other H-1B holders in the past 5 years. Each time, a family member had mysteriously become qualified for the job just as the visa holder's status was sabotaged. Each time, She portrayed herself as the helpful manager trying to navigate unfortunate immigration issues. Her previous victims had been deported before they could fight back. I was the first to lawyer up, the first to document, the first to fight. The FBI arrested Miranda at the office. I wasn't there. She banned me from the premises for security reasons, but coworkers sent videos. Miranda in handcuffs, screaming about ungrateful foreigners stealing American jobs. Jessica crying, insisting she hadn't known, that she just wanted to work with her aunt. The investigation revealed the full scope. Miranda had taken kickbacks from Jessica's father, her brother, for getting his daughter a six-figure job she wasn't qualified for. They planned to do the same for another nephew the following year, targeting my Indian colleague who was also on an H-1B. It's not illegal to hire family, Miranda's lawyer argued at her trial. And it's not illegal to report genuine concerns about an employee's performance. But the prosecutor had receipts. Every falsified document, every backdated email, every fraudulent USCIS filing. Most damning was the recording I'd made of Miranda admitting Jessica was family and that I should leave the country. This wasn't nepotism, the prosecutor said. This was a deliberate campaign to destroy illegal immigrants' life for personal gain. Ms. Whitfield weaponized the immigration system, knowing that any irregularity could result in deportation. She used her position of power to commit fraud, identity theft, and immigration violations. Miranda was convicted on 12 counts, including visa fraud, identity theft, and making false statements to federal agents. She got 8 years in federal prison. Her brother was convicted as an accomplice. Jessica, who cooperated with authorities and genuinely seemed horrified when she learned the full truth, got probation and community service. But my victory in court didn't immediately solve my problems. My visa status was in limbo. The company, terrified of liability, had terminated me without prejudice during the investigation. No job meant no valid visa status, even though the fraud wasn't my fault. The system doesn't care about fairness, Raj explained. You're out of status. Period. I had to leave. After 7 years, an engagement, a career, a life built carefully within every legal boundary, I had to go back to India and reapply from scratch. The departure was voluntary, better than deportation, which would have carried a 10-year ban. But it felt like exile. James offered to marry me immediately, to file for a spouse visa, but I was too proud, too hurt, too afraid that even marriage would be seen as fraud after everything Miranda had put in my file. I need to do this right, I told him at the airport. I need to come back on my own terms, not running from her lies. 6 months. That's how long it took to clean up Miranda's mess, to get new visa approval, to find a company willing to sponsor me despite the complications in my history. 6 months of 3 a.m. video calls with James, of restarting my career in Bangalore, of fighting to prove I deserved what I'd already earned. The day I returned to the U.S., legally, with a visa that Miranda couldn't touch from prison, felt like victory. The tech company that hired me had followed my case, horrified that such talent could be lost to bureaucratic sabotage. They offered me a senior architect position with a clear path to green card sponsorship. We value engineers, not their birthplace, my new manager, David, said during orientation. What happened to you was unconscionable. It won't happen here. I married James 6 months later. Not for papers, my visa was secure, but because surviving Miranda's sabotage had taught us both that tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Why wait to build the life we wanted? At the wedding, my former colleague Emmett gave a toast. He'd been Miranda's next target, the investigation revealed. My fight had saved him from the same fate. To Priya, he raised his glass, who refused to be erased. Miranda serves her time in federal prison. I get updates occasionally from former coworkers. She maintains her innocence, claims she was protecting American jobs from unqualified foreigners. She's banned from holding any position of authority over visa workers upon release, a small justice for the career she destroyed. Jessica reached out once, a long email full of apologies and explanations. She genuinely believed she was qualified, genuinely thought I was struggling at work, based on her aunt's lies. She's in therapy, she said, processing how family loyalty was weaponized to hurt innocent people. I didn't reply, but I hope she's learned. The experience changed me. I document everything now, every meeting, every conversation, every assignment. I know my rights, know immigration law better than some lawyers. I mentor other visa holders, teaching them to protect themselves from the Miranda Whitfields of the world. Trust but verify, I tell them. And always, always keep receipts. Because the truth is, Miranda wasn't unique. She was just careless enough to get caught. For every Miranda in prison, there are dozens operating carefully, legally, using the complexity of immigration law to terrorize workers who can't fight back, who know that visa holders will accept abuse rather than risk deportation, who weaponize bureaucracy for personal gain. But we're not powerless. We have rights, voices, recourse. Miranda thought my accent and visa status made me disposable. She learned that immigration doesn't determine worth, that temporary status doesn't mean temporary humanity. I'm still here, still coding, still building, still contributing to the country I chose and that chose me back. Despite Miranda's best efforts, my green card application is processing smoothly. My team values my work. My marriage is strong. Miranda stole 2 years of my life, but she gave me something too. The knowledge that I could survive anything the system threw at me. That my worth wasn't determined by a visa stamp. That belonging isn't granted by managers or bureaucrats, but earned through resilience, integrity, and refusing to be erased. From her prison cell, Miranda can see the walls she built to keep me out. From my corner office, earned honestly this time, I can see the bridges I built to return. I know which view I prefer,